How to build a small form factor PC. We will discuss parts picking and compatibility in this video. A small form factor PC is a computer that has a volume of less than 20 liters according to the subreddit small form factor PC. It is also called an ITX PC, and this name is derived from the size of motherboard that SFF PCs usually use. Here are the range of motherboard sizes, and as you can see, the ITX form factor is a smallest board that accommodates a full-size PCIe X16 slot and 2 DIMM slots. Here's a size comparison between a full tower PC, a slim tower PC, and this ITX PC. When picking the parts, you always have to keep these 3 areas in check, the holy trinity of SFF PCs: size, cost, and performance. Adjusting one of these will affect the other 2 factors. As you decrease the size, you limit the type of hardware you're able to cram in, and due to the niche parts available, it will be more expensive. Higher-end parts produce a lot of heat, and they will overheat if you can't cool them properly. With restricted airflow in a smaller case, you have to choose lower-end parts that generate less heat, and this will impact performance. There is no perfect parts combination, and the trick is to balance these 3 factors to give you a decent PC that is small and won't burn a hole in pocket. You will decide the computer's use case. For gaming, get a mid-tier CPU and a high-end GPU. For content creation, you need both a good CPU and GPU. If you're simply using it for internet browsing and office use, you can ditch the GPU and get CPU with integrated graphics. It is crucial that you don't cheap out on the ITX motherboard. You have to add extra components into your PC to compensate for any missing motherboard features, which is not so convenient when space is limited. You should look out for motherboards with Wi-Fi and an NVMe slot. If you're using integrated graphics, make sure that it also has a display output. Storage is important. You can insert NVMe SSD into the motherboard for really fast boot times, and this takes up the least space. There is a cheaper alternative, the SATA M.2 SSD with lower read and write speeds. If you do have space, look into 2.5 and 3.5 inch SATA drives. The price per terabyte increases as you get smaller, but so does its speed. Ideally, you want this for your ITX build, and this if you require cheap bulk storage for your collection of Steam games. Do check if the case has any mounts for your drives. Mini graphics cards with custom PCB design shrink the overall size and length so it can fit in more cases. The only difference is that cooling and power delivery system is cut back. For example, this 3-fan Zotac 1080 Amp Extreme versus 2-fan Zotac 1080 Mini. The difference? You're not able to overclock the card as much, and the Amp Extreme has a higher boost clock. However, you aren't losing out as much in performance, as base clocks remains the same, but at a similar frequency, mini cards run hotter. RAM clearance could be an issue and may interfere with cables, the case, and CPU coolers, so avoid high-profile DIMMs like Corsair Dominator Platinums, and go with the Corsair Vengeance LPX for example. There are 4 main sizes of power supplies: ATX, SFXL, SFX, and Flex PSUs. Most ITX cases use these 2. Just check what kind of PSU your case accepts. PSU mounts are absent in some extremely small ITX cases like the S4 Mini. Instead uses this HDplex PSU. It's basically a DC power distribution module with all the correct headers to power a PC. The AC-DC power converter brick is located outside your case like a laptop. I think this is kind of cheating as you're moving power the PSU outside the case, and next thing you know you put a Wi-Fi dongle outside, and then you let your radiator outside, and then next thing your motherboard is outside. Cheating! To sum up, check the compatibility of your parts and cross-reference its dimensions to the specifications of your case. Newegg has the most information regarding the product in its description. If that's not available, check the manufacturer's website or Amazon. There are a lot of contenders for the sub 20 liter case, but only a handful for cases under 10. There are 3 main layouts: the tower, stacked, and sandwich. The regular tower style design, where the GPU is perpendicular to the motherboard. This design is not space efficient, with this area under the GPU and above the CPU not fully utilized. The Cerebus X or NKSM1 has this design, with the added benefit of improved cooling due to unrestricted airflow and radiator mounting options for AIO coolers. Scale it down even more and you get a cube case such as the Rajintech Metis, Lian Li PCQ21B, and the Corsair Obsidian 250T. The stack layout can be achieved with a PCIe riser card where the GPU sits parallel beside the motherboard. The case can be made thinner, but this restricts GPU cooling now that the side panels is pressed right against the fans. Some choices are the RVZ02, Fractal Design Note 202, Lee & Lee PC05S, and the S4 Mini is an extreme example. In this layout, CPU cooler height is usually also restricted to below 8 cm, and there isn't a space to mount an AIO. The problem of cooling the CPU has plagued small form factor builds, especially content creators who require the CPU horsepower to run programs such as Premiere, After Effects, and Cinema 4D. Low-profile heatsinks are used, and here are some examples: the NHL9i, Cryrix C7, Gemini M5, NHL12S, and the Acertec 545LC. Due to its limited heat capacity and surface area, fans usually spin at 100%. Look at the CPU cooler clearance of a case and find one that barely scrapes by with the largest fan diameter. Cut the stack layout into two and wrap the GPU behind the motherboard to get a sandwich layout. These cases are usually the smallest in terms of volume. Not many manufacturers use this design, hence its limited availability with high prices. Here are some of the only cases available: the Loki Ghost S1, Dan Case A4 SFX, Russian Tank Ophion, and the Geek A50, and each has its disadvantages. If these cases are still too large for your tastes, I would suggest getting a laptop. Like I said, as your case gets smaller, no matter the layout, you throw away functionality and limit yourself in terms of performance and cooling. Modifying the case does work, but you are taking a risk. It usually involves sawing and drilling holes in the brand new case to create mounting holes for parts that didn't fit previously. For example, cutting this beam in the Note 202 so it fits a radiator, drilling vents on the bottom of the Dan Case A4 to mount another radiator, velcroing SSDs to whatever available space in the case, and for my own build, fitting the PSU in the optical drive bay so this increases my CPU cooler clearance to 120mm. I then fit two 2.5-inch SSDs and one 3.5-inch HDD in a space available and create a custom side panel because the original could not close. No fan mounts, just use zip ties. And these are the specs of the 8.5-litre content creation PC. For all this effort, I can comfortably fit the PC in my camera bag and bring it around. And then you need a keyboard, mouse, monitor, speakers, and suddenly it doesn't sound like such a feasible, portable desktop solution. The SFF PC subreddit is always there in case you require assistance. I hope you found this video useful as an introduction to the world of small-ish computers.